UFC Fight Night Vegas 27, Font versus Garbrandt takes place tonight, and I'm going to go through the entire card, giving my last minute detailed prediction and breakdown for every single fight on the card. I'm not just picking who I believe is going to win, because I've already made that video earlier this week. I'm trying to predict what happens in the fight itself. I'm not talking about style matchups. I'm not talking about recent opponents. I'm talking about predictions for submissions used to finish a fight, what KO blow is going to land, how each round is going to play out, what scorecards are going to get read. We're getting detailed, starting with the early prelim opener of Rafael Alves versus Damir Ismagulov. I'm going to be going with Damir Ismagulov here, and I think this is how the fight is going to play out, and here's where the detailed prediction comes into play. The first round, Rafael Alves is going to do a real good job, and maybe it looks like he's going to win the fight. I think he's going to come out there, get some takedowns early, maybe put Damir Ismagulov in a little bit of a weird position, land some good shots on the feet as well, and I actually believe Rafael Alves is going to have the bigger moments in round one. It's going to be a very fun round one as well, and I think Rafael Alves is going to win round one of this fight. I feel like Damir Ismagulov, the long layoff, is going to affect him in that early round, and I think Alves is going to sneak that first round by getting some good takedowns, maybe not establishing too much control with them, but he's going to get some reactionary takedowns, maybe go for some big shots on the feet and land a couple of them as well, and then in the second round, that's when things are going to change. Damir Ismagulov is going to come out there, start establishing a jab, start landing some really technical stand-up, and I think it's going to slow down the fight in the second round and third, where Damir Ismagulov has just got his range, he's got his control, he's landing good shots on the feet at range. Then at the end of those rounds, towards the last minute of the round, I think Damir Ismagulov is going to shoot for his takedowns. I think he's going to get those takedowns at the end of each the rounds 2 and 3, and I think he's going to secure the win based on that, and based on winning the stand-up exchanges in round 2 and 3 as well. I'm calling a 29-28 unanimous decision for Damir Ismagulov, losing the first round in a crazy back and forth moment, and then winning the second and third in a more controlled environment for Damir Ismagulov. Moving on up the card, Yancy Medeiros versus Damir Hadzovic. 2 Damirs in a row. I don't know what the odds are for that, but there should have been some kind of prop bet whenever they were making this card. Damir is not a name you hear often. On the opening fight on the card and the next one, both guys are called Damir. Very interesting odds, but even still, Yancy Medeiros versus Damir Hadzovic. Let's stay on topic. Yancy Medeiros is going to win this fight by decision as well. I think he's actually going to win at 30-27. I think he's just a little bit too rangy for Damir Hadzovic, and I think the fight's going to play out like this. Damir Hadzovic is going to go out there, look to be pretty technical, land some good shots here and there, land a lot of kicks. I think Damir Hadzovic is going to go for on Yancy Medeiros. I don't see him grappling too much here. I think the grappling is going to sort of cancel each other out in this fight, and it's going to be a stand-up match for 3 rounds. I can see Damir Hadzovic having a decent first round. I just think Yancy Medeiros is going to outland him every round. The volume of Yancy Medeiros is going to be a problem. The range of Yancy Medeiros is going to be a problem. And where Damir Hadzovic may be landing like a good body kick now and again, or a good leg kick now and again, or a good overhand right now and again, as he does that, he may have those good moments. But in between all of those big moments from Damir Hadzovic, I think Yancy's going to be peppering a jab on his face, landing a 1-2 every now and again, and just winning the in-between moments of all of the rounds. Maybe he doesn't land the best shots of the fight. I think the best shots of the fight are going to go to Damir Hadzovic. But for Yancy Medeiros, I think he's just going to tally up the numbers as the fight goes on. Very Sean Strickland-esque against his recent opponent, Krzysztof Jotko. I think the fight's going to go very similarly here. And as the rounds go on, I think in the second and third, Yancy Medeiros is going to be the one pressuring Damir and landing some good volume shots and earn himself a 30-27 unanimous decision. Maybe a dumb judge gives it 29-28, who knows. 30-27, Yancy Medeiros. Moving on up the card, David Dvorak versus Juancamilo Ronderos. On the prelims now, a real downgrade for David Dvorak. He was on the main card. Very unfortunate, because Howley and Paver, of course, miss weight. I guess I can just give my prediction on this fight because I didn't give it before. David Dvorak's going to win this one. I think he's going to win it by third round TKO. David Dvorak always has a really good third round. I think the first round's going to be a little bit crazy. Juancamilo's going to be coming out, swinging some bombs, trying to look for the finish in the first round because he obviously does not have the gas tank on short notice against David Dvorak. I think he's going to look for big bombs in the first round, try and get a good takedown or two. David Dvorak's going to stay at range, defend, pretty well. Then the second round's going to come around. Dvorak's going to start really adding up those leg kicks that maybe he started landing in round 1. He's a very good investor of a fighter. Then when that third round comes around, you're going to see third round Dvorak. He's got pretty good cardio in that third round, and I think that's when I'm going to see a TKO finish for David Dvorak against Juancamilo Ronderos. I think he'll get the finish in the third round, not really because of a big shot that puts down Ronderos. I just think the front kicks to the body, the leg kicks that David Dvorak lands, I think they're going to add up. It's going to be a little bit too much, and Juancamilo's just not going to be able to react in a way that he needs to defend himself, and David Dvorak's going to put him down against the cage and get a TKO finish in round 3. Moving on up the card, Joshua Culibao versus Yilan. That's his name. Joshua Culibao versus Yilan Shah, because they switched the names around for no fucking reason. All good. Joshua Culibao's going to win this one first round TKO. I think this is going to be a real good fight early. I think both guys are going to be slugging it early in this fight, and I think Joshua Culibao is going to be too fast, too rangy, too powerful in that opening round. I think this is going to definitely be a one-round fight. I don't see this one going past the first round. Maybe Yilan Shah can catch Joshua Culibao in the first round. I don't see Yilan Shah winning any other way than a first-round finish here against Joshua Culibao. But I think Culibao's going to play that game with him and TKO him in the first round pretty badly with like a straight right hand down the pipe on Yilan Shah's face. Put him down, finish him off. First-round TKO for Joshua Culibao. I just think he's going to be too fast and rangy for Yilan Shah, and he's going to be a little bit confused out there and get put away in the first round. Joshua Culibao, round 1, KO, straight right hand down the pipe. Moving on up the card, Bruno Silva versus Victor Rodriguez. I'm going to be going with Bruno Silva, and I'm also going to call a third round TKO again. 2 flyweight fights in a row, third round TKOs. I'm going to be going with Bruno Silva. I think he's got great pacing and cardio. I like the way he picks up as the fight goes on as well. I think the first round's going to be pretty interesting. The second round is also going to be quite... No, you know what? I'm going to say a little bit earlier. I think Bruno Silva's improving at this point in his career, and I think he's actually going to get a second round TKO against Victor Rodriguez at the end of the second round. Victor Rodriguez, good, likes a bit of range in the flyweight division. He's actually going to look a little bit different than we're used to seeing him here, because he was the smaller guy at bantamweight. Now he's moving down to where he was before, and he's going to be at range again. I think Bruno Silva's just going to make it a little bit too messy for him. It's going to be a fun scrap start to finish, but eventually Victor Rodriguez will go down in the second round by TKO. Bruno Silva's going to get it done, I'll say, with like slipping the jab of Rodriguez and landing a counter hook over the top. Bruno Silva gets it done. Second round TKO at the end of the second round. Moving on up the card, Court McGee versus Claudio Silva. I'm going to be going with Claudio Silva by split decision. Not joking. I think it's going to be a very close fight. I think Court McGee's going to have some moments. I think maybe Court McGee's going to outstrike Claudio Silva, in all honesty. But I think Claudio Silva is going to time some takedowns, have some close submission attempts, and these moments in the fight are going to be what sways the sort of rounds in his favor. Very Bobby Green, Thiago Moises-esque of a fight is what I'm predicting here, with Claudio Silva being Thiago Moises. Except this time Claudio Silva's actually going to win, unlike Moises against Bobby Green, because Bobby Green got fucking robbed, let's be real. Claudio Silva is going to win himself a split decision. Very close fight. Court McGee landing some more shots on the feet, but Silva's going to get it based on like an armbar attempt, a heel hook attempt, a rear naked choke moment where he maybe has the back of Court McGee at the end of one of the rounds. He's going to win the moments. McGee's going to win the duration of the fight, but I think they're going to give it to Claudio Silva based on those close submission attempts. Moving on up the card, split decision for Claudio Silva. Ben Rothwell versus Chris Barnett. I predict extremely high levels of cholesterol, maybe cardiac arrest, and I'm going to go with Ben Rothwell in the second round by ground and pound TKO. I think Chris Barnett is going to have a wild first round, short notice, and he's wild anyway. Okay, if you look at this man, and I told you I was gonna pick him by spinning back kick, body shot TKO finish in the first round, you'd laugh at me because he is spherical. Okay. But I think he actually is going to go out there and throw some random shit in the first round. Bunch of spinning attacks, bunch of big kicks, maybe go high with a couple of jumping head kicks, something like that. Bunch of big bombs early, trying to knock out Ben Rothwell in the first round. I don't think he's going to KO Ben Rothwell in the first round. And I think because of trying to do that, he will gas out as this fight goes on. And not just because of the big first round that he's going to have. He's going to gas out as this fight goes on because of his blood pressure levels, because of his BMI, because of many different things. I think he'll slow down as this fight goes on, a short notice. And I think Ben Rothwell's going to get him down in the second round with a takedown, get on top, and just land some ground and pound on this man's face and finish him in the second round by TKO. Ben Rothwell gets it done. Moving on to the main card. Jack Hermansson versus Edmen Shahbazyan. I'm going to be going with the Joker Jack Hermansson. I think he's going to get this one done by first round submission. I think at the end of the first round, he's going to catch Edmen Shahbazyan in his patented arm-in guillotine. I think it's going to be a great first rounder. I think Shahbazyan is going to show some improvements, land some good shots on the feet. Hermansson's going to shoot for some takedowns, and maybe Shahbazyan stuffs like one of them early or something like that. Then Hermansson is going to go for more takedowns towards the end of the round once those initial first few explosive exchanges have happened. Hermansson's going to go for another takedown. Shahbazyan's going to be able to defend and maybe look to get back up a little bit too quick. And when he tries to go to all fours to get back up, I think Hermansson's going to come around, latch up the arm-in guillotine as Shahbazyan's getting back up in the first round and put in that arm-in guillotine at the end of the first round for a first round submission win for Jack Hermansson. No damage taken for Edmen Shahbazyan. He'll turn around right away, but Jack Hermansson gets the first round submission win. I can see it happening very clearly, in my opinion. I don't think Shahbazyan's got that level of ground awareness, and I think Hermansson's just way too dangerous in those scramble positions, unless you're a guy with like the takedown defense of Marvin Vettori. I don't see Edmen Shahbazyan having that. I might delay this to the second round. I'll say second round submission, Jack Hermansson, arm-in guillotine. Start of the second round. I'm not going to say first round. Maybe I've just ruined it for myself. No, I'll say first round. Remember, I doubted this. Remember that. I'll say first round submission for Jack Hermansson, arm-in guillotine. Moving on up the card, Ricardo Ramos versus Bill Algeo. That was Bill Algeo's last Ricardo that he took on. I'm going to be going with Bill Algeo here against Ricardo Ramos. I'm going to go TKO. No, I'm not. I'm going to go decision. I'm going to go 29-28 decision. I think Ramos is going to come out and have a good first round. Maybe get the back of Bill Algeo at some point standing at one moment. Maybe land some good shots on the feet. Couple of spinning back kicks. Couple of fun techniques that he's going to land in that first round. And big ones on Bill Algeo that he's going to land. I think after going for those big techniques, he is going to slow down as this fight goes on. And Bill Algeo is going to start landing some body kicks. Landing some combinations. Round 2 is going to be very close, but I'm going to edge it towards Bill Algeo. Then round 3, I can see Bill Algeo walking down Ricardo Ramos, piecing him up, landing big shots, and really starting to put a whooping on Ricardo Ramos. I like the way Bill Algeo, he just keeps going as the fight goes on. He gets better as the fight goes on. And even on short notice against Ricardo Lamas, he got better as the fight went on. No, he didn't get better. He started good, but he couldn't get better because of the short notice. Now with a full camp, and obviously we've seen him fight before in between that Ricardo Lamas fight with a guy like Spike Carlisle where he did do good as the fight went on. I think he's going to grow as this fight continues and win it based on the second and third round in some scrappy exchanges. Moving on up the card, Felicia Spencer versus Norma Dumont. I'm going to go Felicia Spencer. First round, arm triangle submission. I believe that's going to happen. I think she's going to get Norma Dumont down in the first round against the cage. I can see Norma Dumont being lined up against the cage. Felicia Spencer being on the inside of her compared to the cage anyway, closer to the center of the octagon. Going for that arm triangle, a real bully move in the submission world. I think she's going to get that over Norma Dumont. First round, couple of kicks at range from Felicia Spencer. Norma Dumont maybe tries to land some knees in the clinch. I think eventually they will clash in the middle in that first round. Felicia Spencer will get her underhooks, push Norma Dumont back against the cage. I think Dumont's going to start looking for some knees in the clinch, and I think when she does that, she's going to give up a single leg or a double leg or some kind of moment where Felicia Spencer can get a good takedown, and I think Spencer's going to take her down against the cage with a big slam at the end of round 1 after a bunch of clinch festing against the cage, and then she's going to sink into submission on Norma Dumont. First round arm triangle for Felicia Spencer. Moving on up the card, Justin Tafa versus Jared Vanderaa. I'm going first round KO for Justin Tafa here. I've seen people unironically pick Jared Vanderaa based on wrestling. I saw Bilal Muhammad pick Jared Vanderaa based on wrestling. His wrestling is fucking garbage. I don't know what they'll... He might win, But no one's picking him based on anything they know. They're just saying, oh, underdog wins. He looked a bit bigger. They're trying to justify it based on wrestling. The guy's wrestling is fucking atrociously shit. Like, that's just... The fact that Bilal said that just shows me he's Hail Mary and an underdog for no reason. So I'm going to ignore that. I saw that on the UFC broadcast show, by the way. Justin Tafa versus Jared Vanderaa. I see Tafa chopping at the calf early. I think he's going to smack up that calf of Jared Vanderaa. Start landing some good leg kicks as well. Jared Vanderaa is going to start to slow down after the first 2 minutes of the first round. Because of those calf kicks, he's going to be stepping a little bit gingerly. Then Tafa is going to catch him against the cage. I'm going to go with an uppercut KO for Justin Tafa. He seems to look for it often whenever he has a hurt opponent in front of him. And I think he's going to land it against Jared Vanderaa. Uppercut KO against the cage. Couple of follow-up shots. Jared Vanderaa is hunched over, waiting for the ref to jump in. The ref does jump in, hopefully. Anyway, Justin Tafa gets a first round TKO finish. Started with an uppercut against the cage on a limping Jared Vanderaa, whose legs and body are just taking a bit of abuse from the kicks of Justin Tafa. Moving on up the card to the co-main event. Xiaonan versus Carla Esparza. I'm going to go with Xiaonan. A lot of people are picking Carla Esparza here. I'm not going to do that. I'm going to go with Xiaonan. I think she's going to be too good at takedown defense, and she keeps range well on the feet as well with her side kicks and her head kicks. She's very Michelle Waterson-esque, but just with good boxing and actually some power and actually kind of good, in my opinion. So I'm going to go with Xiaonan. I think Carla Esparza is going to have some moments where she gets takedowns. You know what's going to happen when Carla Esparza gets those takedowns at the ends of round 1 and round 2 and round 3. I think Xiaonan's going to win this fight Carlos Condit, Matt Brown style, and just land more total strikes from on bottom and just be the one landing those total strikes. I think Carla Esparza is going to be too okay to just lay in full guard and try and keep her there and try and keep Xiaonan in full guard. And I think Xiaonan's going to be landing shots, elbows, punches. She keeps busy off of her back. You saw that against Claudia Gadelha. I think she's going to utilize that here and win herself actually a 30-27 unanimous decision against Carla Esparza. I think she just stays busier and is the actual one doing damage, even maybe while being out-grappled towards the end of those rounds. Moving on up the card to the main event. Rob Font versus Cody Garbrandt, the one you've all been waiting for. I'm going to go with Rob Font by second round TKO against Cody Garbrandt. I'm going to call another uppercut. I feel bad about that now because usually you don't see that many uppercuts. I'm going to call it. I think Rob Font gets an uppercut KO in the second round. Cody Garbrandt's going to start real good, maybe chopping at the leg. Rob Font's going to land a lot of jabs in that first round, in my opinion. Garbrandt's going to try and go for the legs early, where Rob Font's going to try and land some shots upstairs. I think as the fight goes on in the first round, Font's going to be landing more of the good shots. Maybe Garbrandt's going to be landing some good investment shots, but Font's going to be landing good shots on the feet, and that's going to slowly annoy Garbrandt as the fight goes on. The first round is going to go 10-9 to Rob Font, landing good shots at range and landing that jab at will. Then in the second round, Garbrandt's going to be coming out a little bit more aggressive. He wants a round back. He doesn't want to lose 2 rounds in a row. He wants to get the second round. I think he's going to try and use a lot of head movement to get on the inside of Rob Font's jab in that second round. When he does dip down and try and dip to the side of those jabs of Rob Font, I think Font's going to time a jab with an uppercut behind it and catch Garbrandt dipping down below. That's going to put Garbrandt down. Rob Font's going to put on the finishing shots and get a TKO in the second round against Cody Garbrandt, starting with an uppercut after Cody Garbrandt tries to slip his jabs in the second. Like and subscribe. Thank you for watching. Click that button up there. Toodle pip. Goodbye.